Biodiesel, I think everyone is focusing on biodiesel, especially 2G technology and the new technologies. So far, as our experience is showing, that there aren't too many biodiesel plant which have come up. Maybe they are facing constraint in terms of technology of production or the viability, right? So Praj has taken few steps in terms of developing the technology or the culture for the biodiesel, or some of the large players like IPCL, the oil marketing companies, have dedicated capital in production of biodiesel, beyond which we have not come across any viable plant running where we can supply that agriculture feed waste. So there I clearly see that the investment is huge, vis-a-vis the viability we are yet to be established. That's my experience. Obviously the co-panelists have bigger experience in that area. Gaseous fuel like the CBG. Now the buzzword here is CBG. After the Bio Alliance, everyone is talking about CBG. Adani, Ambani's of the world, basically every large player is wanting to get into CBG. Now CBG, I see clearly three issues. One is, although the model seems to be viable, and that's why so many plants have already been announced, lined up, we have tied up for sourcing of the feedstock, which is agriculture residue, to all of them. The problems which are still unsolved are like this. One is whether that bio CNG plant will get raw material at that specific price in that quantum, because ultimately the feedstock, the CBG production is linked to a certain price of input material, which is your agriculture residue. Everyone has basically planned certain price as of input price in their projection. Now just to take you back in the past, many biomass based power plant are not running. It's simply because they build the cost of input, which is solid biofuel agri residue, at maybe 50 paisa or 1 rupee per kg. And those days are gone when you can get the raw material at that prices, because the PPA was derived from that. And that many location, those plants are shut and non-operational. Now here again, the viability of CBG is linked to the biggest factor, which is your input cost price. So that is one issue, because as I said in the beginning, the longer you go, higher is your input cost because of the logistics and the transportation cost. Second is infrastructure cost. Yes, there are many players, there are many schemes, global players, everyone is interested to put up a CBG plant. Yes, and it's viable. Another issue faced is the transportation of CBG. If it's not close to the user base, then you are spending more on cascade and less on the gas. I'm sure my panelists can approve to that point. And third point is the residue, the slurry which comes out of the CBG digester. Uh, Although the usage of that slurry after dried can be used as manure, but when you get that slurry in the quantum of say thousands of tons per annum, where will you dry it? Where is the mechanism to put that slurry? Because if you are carrying that slurry anywhere, you are carrying water. So again, you are spending money on carrying water, which is of no use there. So these are practical aspects of CBG, which I think would be, and for any product, I think going forward, the viability pointer will be the end price of the product and not saving on the input cost, because input cost with over a period of time has to go up, be it transport, labor, electricity, or anything. It has to go up with inflation. So what needs to be focused on is the end product price, whether my CBG price can go up, my biodiesel price can go up, and it is linked to the competing fuel, which is fossil fuel, or there is an enforcement by environmental agencies to forcefully use the clean fuel. That is where the viability. Now coming to the third one, which is solid biofuel, as I can see, it's already viable. There are so many plants are up and running, simply because solid biofuel briquettes and pellets are still 40% cheaper than your fossil fuel. When I'm talking about fossil fuel, it is furnace oil, or even the LNG or the PNG and the gaseous fuel. So there the viability is still there, because you still are 40% cheaper. Now when you compare with say Indonesian coal, which is another fossil fuel where the solid biofuels compete, either it is at par, or last year it was again 20% cheaper. So there again, the input is again established. There also you have input cost pressure from the feedstock, but the manufacturing cost pan India for solid biofuel is established, and it's unlikely to go up. It's an established technology. There is no technological challenge in making solid biofuels. Only the input cost varies, and the same can be passed on to the end user. So taking all these three, and answering your question of infrastructure and about the financial effects of producing biofuel. Solid biofuels are viable. That industry is up and running for last 15 years profitably. And another boost which it has got is in the form of co-firing. All the power plants in India have been mandated to use 5% biofuel along with coal, and that demand is yet to be fulfilled. I think NTPC might not have got maybe 2% of the entire biofuels demand. So in a nutshell, I think yes, financial effects of producing biofuel, solid biofuel proven. CBG, I think will prove it, because as the technology matures, yields go up, end price go up. I think it will. Biodiesel, I think I'm not too qualified to comment on that, but yes, I can see some of the constraints.
Exactly. So we are in the final round of our question and answer. So one final question to Mr. Prasenjit. So we have accelerated our efforts to research and develop different types of biofuels. Are there any lessons that India can learn from other countries who have successfully, developed and integrated biofuels into their energy portfolios?
Yeah, thank you, Archana. Very nice question, actually. So you see, we have resource, we have technology, we have will to do something. So we have started also, but now to be successful, we should take some case study. Actually, for example, our biodiesel, we had one government plan in 2001, I think. So that Jatropha was targeted to
Hello.
there were some factors which we are not able to anticipate. So
Professor Mondal, I think you got disconnected in the middle, so if you can restart the sentence.
am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible now.
Yeah. So what I say, it is very interesting question actually. So we have our feedstocks. So we have our will to produce more energy from this biomass and waste. We have technology, but it is always better to have some case study. So where which nation they have already producing the bioenergy, so that if we see and analyze critically, that will help us. So if we see across the globe, then the bioenergy or biofuel production countries, the top one is Brazil. So if we see the Brazil, what is the statistics? So in Brazil, they have your 84% of total energy production from the renewable sources, and only 16% from coal, gas, oil, and nuclear. So because of this huge availability of renewable sources, in 1931, they had target of 5% ethanol blending. And 2021 and 2023, they have targeted 27% ethanol blending in petrol. And they have achieved it because of this availability of feedstock. What are the feedstocks available? Cane sugar. So the world's largest cane sugar production country is Brazil, that contributed 37.6% of the world's total harvest area in 2019. So we also have 18.9% of global sugar production capacity. So we have also good potential to produce more ethanol from our sugar industry, which we have not yet exploited. So that is a good point for us. We can explore this and we can produce. So from Brazil, we can take this lesson that sugar industry can be a source for our ethanol production. Similarly, for biodiesel production, if we see from Brazil, so they had 2005 target is 2%, and 2023 they have target is 15% blending. They are able to do it because of the availability of soybeans. So largest world producer of soybeans, that is full of lipid and good source of biodiesel. Certainly there is an issue whether we will go for the biodiesel production from soybean or it will be used for food. So food versus fuel, that issue arising, but they had that and they managed to do it. But here India, we lack here. We do not have that much feedstock containing very high content of lipid, which can give us biodiesel. If we see the US, next producer of bioenergy is US, United States. So here they have 81% from the fossil fuels. So 19% are from renewable sources, you can say. Out of these, we see they have biodiesel, ethanol, and solid biofuels. Out of these, the renewable energy produced in United States, they have 51.2% of from solid biofuels, because they have the more availability of the agricultural residues, and had also 33% ethanol. So they have some sweet sorghum, etc. So those they used, and many other biomass like switchgrass, miscanthus, energy cane. So they use this biomass, and accordingly they extracted the energy from it. And then next is your Canada. Canada is also produces very good amount of bioenergy. So they have different agricultural residues as well as forest residues. So solid biomass is one of the most important feedstock, we can say, for both US and Canada. So in India also, we have huge amount of solid biomass and residues, some forests as well as agricultural residues. So we can take lesson and we can strengthen our capacity for the utilization of solid biomass, that is pelletization, which is going on in last few years. Government policy favors and good investment is coming up for this pellet formations and co-firing, etc. So we are taking this case study and getting success. If we think the next is Thailand. So Thailand also the energy mix that consists 30% biomass, 25% hydro, 24% solar, and 13% wind power out of its renewable energy mixes. So depending upon the industrial and agricultural waste and residues, rice husk, bagasse fiber, and palm cell, they have produced these different types of energy. So that way also we are also going in these directions. China produces bioenergy only 1% with respect to its total energy consumption, but 1% of China's energy is huge in amount. So its energy consumption is so high. So because of the availability of again the food grains, that is corn and wheat, they have used, they have a major food feedstock. So and got success in ethanol production. So similar way, we are also taking the decision that available feedstocks which is available in our country, we should focus on it first, and then we can go for import as well. And if we think that Germany has also some bioenergy production facilities with more than 70% coming from fossil sources and 6.2% from nuclear, and 16.1% is from renewables. And out of these renewables, biomass is only 8.7%. So not much, but it is it is 8% is total with respect to total. So 55% of renewable energy is from biomass. And if we see um, the energy production in Germany, so we see before 2018, they had some biogas production. But now, after that, the use, if we see that the production has increased, biogas production has increased significantly, along with ethanol and your biodiesel production. So we have to think about that way, that what feedstocks we are having, how we can easily process, economically process, and what policies we should take. Because all these countries have taken similar type of policies, like say they have emphasized on the waste to energy generation, they have incentives for biogas production, for energy production from the biomass and waste. They have taken different policies, subsidies, etc. So government of India are also going in that direction. Many policies is coming out, subsidy is also being given, and we are getting also results. So these expressions, these analysis has given us good, good direction basically. So that global alliance we have US, Brazil, India. So US and Brazil are the pioneer in this bioenergy. So in that direction, we are also going on. So, and I hope we will be getting the positive result.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. So before I, take my next question to Anand on the Global Biofuel Alliance, I just want to quickly ask Shrey on the, how biogas can be a model example of circular economy, and how do you envision the role of biogas evolving in the circular economy in the coming years? Because, as during the discussion, you mentioned that there are several biogas plants in India, but only a handful of them are working, maybe just 1/4 of them are working. So, in case it gets its potential, its due attention, how do you see it contributing to the economy?
Sure, Archana. So I would like to divide the entire biogas sector into three parts. One is the individual level biogas plants. Second is community level biogas plants. And third are industrial level biogas plants. While I may not have a lot of experience in the community level and then individual level biogas plants, but we do have experience in the industrial level biogas plants. Now, how I see the industrial level biogas plants, we need to see this biogas industry as a milk industry. We cannot take and think this industry like a traditional petroleum industry, because a traditional petroleum industry is basically like having a very short supply chain. So there's a crude oil in one country, it goes all the way to a main refinery, and then that crude oil is refined and it is dispensed through petrol pumps. Now, if we see the biofuel industry, here the supply chain is a little more. Like Ashvin sir also mentioned about the feedstock and the transportation of that. Now, if we compare our biogas industry with the milk industry, it will go hand in hand. So just like milk is collected at decentralized level from a lot of farmers, then it is brought to the chiller, then from chiller, it goes to the main processing, and then it is packaged, and then finally it is dispensed. Now, why I am highlighting the milk business is because India is one of the biggest, I would say probably the world's largest exporters of milk, if I'm not wrong. And milk is a perishable commodity. It's a perishable product. And it has a shelf life of 4 hours. So when the milk is procured from that farmer to it goes to the packaging, it has a life of just 4 hours. And what our country has been able to achieve in the milk industry is truly phenomenal. Because in India, in a lot of places, the road infrastructure has not been up to the mark. The electricity has not been up to the mark. But despite that, we have been successfully able to give birth to a very big milk industry. Now, similarly, I see biogas industry exactly like that. So our feedstock is present at decentralized level, and it has to be collected from at decentralized level. Then finally, it has to come to one major point where it is being processed to be converted into biogas, and then it is being dispatched. Now, answering your question that what is the scope of the jobs it can provide. So I see that it has a lot of scope to create ecopreneurs. So this is a term that someone coined, and we really liked it. That just like in milk industry, every farmer is basically an entrepreneur. If we see at a very small level, so exactly like that in biogas industry as well, there's a scope for a lot of ecopreneurs at very decentralized level. So they cannot be, I would say that they cannot be, in India, if we talk about the petroleum business, we have around 8 to 10 main refineries where the oil processing is being done. But when we talk about the bio CNG refineries, they need to be at decentralized level. So there cannot be one company who's having one major big plant who's taking care of the entire nation, but there have to be multiple, probably thousands and thousands of decentralized industrial level plants that will cater to a particular district or a particular block in that particular district. So this is how I see that this industry has a lot of opportunity to create ecopreneurs. So that is how I would like to sum up the entire discussion.
Right, right. Thanks, Shrey. Going to Anandh. So, Anandh, the Global Biofuel Alliance was announced a little over a month ago. So, what does this mean for India, and what does this mean for the future of biofuel industry in India?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Archana, for the question. I was worried actually you will ask me this question right after Professor Mondal, because again he answered half of it. So coming to that, I will first mention about the reasons why this alliance will create a lot of opportunities in India. Now, coming to the reasons, there are a lot of challenges that is India is facing in terms of biofuel. For example, that already panelists has been mentioned in the supply chain, and that is not there, and the transportation of the thing that is costly, and the sourcing of materials and everything, those are different. And when it comes to celluloid, the problem is pre-treatment. It is actually 1/3 of the total cost of the celluloid process, which is not economically feasible. Basically, you are making a fuel which is more costly, and that its production cost. Now, these are the problems, and now these problems cannot be catered if we are trying to find a technology within the country itself. So we need to depend on the existing technology that other countries provide. For that matter, when you talk about ethanol production, Brazil has been doing it for a long time. So they're far ahead than what we are currently when you think about the technology advancement. And when it comes to celluloid based, USA has advanced technologies. So coming to GBA, it is actually an opportunity for India because we've been always a consumer. Now we will be a contributor towards, maybe we'll become a contributor as well. So that is one agenda. That is one good thing that will be happening. And our G20 presidency will have a lot of impact over the time. And I have noted a few things that I would like entirely. I've brought it into like 5-6 points about it. I'll just briefly take you through there. First is the implementation of sustainable biofuels. That is an important thing that GBA would be facilitating. So sustainable biofuels will actually give more importance to new technologies that will be coming. Because sustainability is the key currently, and all these things are happening. And I'm sure when this alliance will give a lot of collaborations, intercountry collaborations will be there. The companies, more investments will be coming here. So that actually will work. Second is the capacity building that is important. Now, capacity building, when it is not just about building infrastructure or something, it is about the correlation or the coordination that the government entirely gives with the entities and stakeholders that is involved. So capacity building will be more efficient. And then a virtual marketplace, that is one vision that they have. That is currently the demand and supply is not mapped anywhere. We don't even know because we got numbers. You go to 10 different articles, you'll get 10 different numbers. So there is no particular mode of mapping that is, so demand and supply mapping can happen during a virtual marketplace. That is important. And again, last but not the least, it is the regulations and the policies. Now, when we are in the alliance, we will be curring with the international standards. So now the international trade, you can incentivize the companies who is going to take the biofuel alternatives, or maybe when they are into biofuels, they can use those benefits internationally as well, because we will fall under the international standards category. And apart from these, finally, low carbon technology, since India is talking about a lot of low carbon technologies. So this is a low carbon technology. Even though I am from the fossil fuel thing, I do, I do believe the fact that it is very important to have this thing. We are into the biotechnology. We are the leading biotechnology, industrial biotechnology development company in India. So we know that these decarbonization would be an important part. And when it comes to biofuels, low carbon, energy is something that biofuel will be putting, and GBA will have a lot of importance to us. And I'm sure one thing that I would like to say from the way that we developed our technologies in different verticals, collaboration is something that really need, because we cannot have all the technologies in our hand. Now, GBA will enable this to have global collaborations with some companies and industries, so which will reduce the timeline that we're keeping for it, because now the system has changed such a way that even the GBA, G20, you see everything. The timelines are reducing. Now, before we used to have timelines like let's down the line 5 years. Now the timeline is 1 year, few months. So the timeline is coming more near. I mean, it's becoming more narrow. So the Global Alliance will have a lot of opportunities as such for the collaborations, technology transfer, and sharing of our expertise. So that would, and moreover, as I mentioned that again, India will be a technology enabler as well as a contributor to the energy rather than a consumer. So I would like to conclude my points on that. Yeah, thank you.
Right. So just one final question to Ashwin. So Ashwin, what future do you foresee of biofuels price competitiveness as against fossil fuels in the coming decade? And because the production itself takes up some financial chunk from it, the profitability is also an issue. So in the future, what kind of competition can it give to the fossil fuels that are available in the market? And also, do you think that there is an intervention of PLI schemes which is required in the biofuel industry?
Thanks, Archana. I think asking 10-year view on biofuel viability is a very big task. But yes, I'm very certain that leave aside 10 years, in next 5 years, 5 to 10 years, all biofuels will be at premium to fossil fuel without any support. This one reason being the global, enforcement of net zero transition, environment. These factors are compelling all users across the globe, governments across the globe, to ensure that every participant in the industrial ecosystem moves away from fossil fuel, because that is the only way to reduce your carbon footprint. You do whatever solar, other things. See, solar is one way of achieving non-renewable green energy, but that cannot stop running a boiler using coal, which emits so much of carbon dioxide and SOx into the environment. That has to stop. That can stop by two ways, using only the green fuel. So if you ask me about 10 years perspective, I think biofuels will be at premium to fossil fuel with or without a PLI schemes. Yes, if you want to expedite that process, yes, there will be support which is required from the government in various forms. If I again take the biofuel category individually, if I talk about, say, biodiesel, yes, that is as of now very capital intensive, because the technology has not been commercially viably established, right? If you want to go for a 2G refinery, the kind of investments, it's only the likes of IPCL or BPCL or those who want to subsidize for that cost can do. Not a common person who wants to run the business for profit can do it. So yes, their government can help that perspective with PLI. Coming to the gaseous fuel, the CBG, I think there the investment quantum is not huge because it can be done from 5 crores to 15 crores, which is manageable by any industry. The government support there required is on the evacuation of CBG. Once you produce the CBG, then if that utilization happens near to the source, then you are a winner. Your plants are viable from day one, because the quantum of feedstock required to run one CBG plant is available at any location which can be shortlisted. Yes, on the usage part, people are bothered about whether there will be a pipeline or how long I have to transport the CBG to make it viable. So I think that part is something very difficult. Now the third, which is solid biofuel, I don't think that you require, because the investment is not so high, you don't require a PLI scheme there. But yes, a government intervention or government help can be required to basically expedite the co-firing. So government has mandated co-firing of agri-waste fuel along with coal in their power plants. There the investment is high because the requirement of that fuel is such that you need to put multiple equipments, costly equipment to make that fuel. Their government can subsidize those equipment because it is going ultimately for power which is used by the entire India. It's not a specific industry is using. So overall, I think, yes, I have specifically highlighted where PLI can be beneficial, which part of biofuel it can be beneficial. And about the price competitiveness, I think from day one, I'm very much convinced that this is the future. And yes, it will trade at premium to all the fossil fuels in the world.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Patil. This was a lovely and perfect conclusion to the webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We have quite a bit of questions, but we are also, we have exceeded the time. So all the specific questions that we have, we'll send it to our panelists. If you have any additional questions, please mail it to me at archana.rao@tpci.in. So we'll see all our attendees in the next session. And meanwhile, thank you so much to all our esteemed panelists for joining us today. And, see you guys soon, very soon in another collaboration. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks.
Please take care.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.